Welcome to Dweller of the Dark.
We are wicked wizards demanding the resurrection of the yellowed and blackened bones of forgotten masters of horror, science fiction, fantasy, and beyond. Subscribe, comment, like, or I'll send the vampire Helen to rip your heart out. Writers, poets, songwriters, reach out to us if you want to be part of our growing pile of bones. Writing, ghostwriting services on Upwork and Fiverr. We've had a 98% successful completion rate for projects. Contact links below.
Children of Horror, Legion of Ghouls.
We proudly present one Scotch, one Bourbon, and one beer. Chapter 3. Devilishly devoted to horror. May your souls always be.
One Scotch, one Bourbon, and one beer. Chapter 3 by Jeffrey LeBlanc.
I bit the inside of my mouth out of involuntary habit. In times of worry, tasting the salt of my tears, of my bleeding lip, as my father had done out of his own macabre habit decades before, helped to ground me. Certainly, the induced pain helped to still my frazzled nerves. In absolute duress, biting my inner lip helped me stifle my anger before I screamed obscenities at our misguided Italian friend. Vulgar words I was sure to regret later when my raging temper cooled. For now, though, I locked my jaw seething. In all the places and all the bars in Louisiana, why the hell did you have to show up here, you damn idiot? What right did you have tracking in all your trouble? There is no goddamn way in hell I'm going out to Judas Mill in the middle of the night in a damn ice storm. Women in distress or no women in distress. It's the right thing to do, Wyatt. Terry lowered his head slightly, putting a reassuring hand on my shoulder, mumbling out of earshot of our pacing nervous guest. You know, I'd never be able to live with myself if we didn't at least try. I kept my words terse and low. I kind of surprised myself with my coarse abruptness. You know, they are already dead, or whatever. Of course I know, Wyatt, but he doesn't. Terry closed his fist and jerked his thumb to point in the direction of the panicking stranger. We bring him out there, he finds nothing, and we jet on out before anything comes crawling out looking for us. What the hell? Do you have some sort of death wish? I glanced over to Terry, waiting for an answer. He said nothing, furrowed his brow, and just gave me a taut, stern stare of disapproval. I thought I might have hit a nerve, but I was wrong. By the cold sweat beads forming on his leathered brow, I realized it was something else. It was the sign of my normally fearless friend experiencing fear. I'd known Terry all my life, you see. When his hands shook like leaves on a tree and he incessantly patted his brow with his handkerchief, it told me everything I needed to know. Stammering, he stuttered out, Let's get that damn fishing boat of yours running. The sooner. No problem, Terry. Sorry for trying to reason with you on the particulars. I'm scared too. I interrupted and blurted out what we were both obviously dreading. I'm not scared of dying, Wyatt. Let's get that clear. No man, no gator, no ice storm, no nothing scares me. But I noticed his bearded gray mouth seemed to have caught a twitch of the jitters. He cast a darting glance out towards Judas Mill before continuing. Shuddering, he steadied himself to explain. Whatever happens to all them missing people, it ain't natural. I hear all the half-crazed rumors, stuff that sounds too impossible to believe. I just don't know what to think. Well, it's settled then. I gave Terry a beaming, mischievous grin. I'll break the news to the lunatic that the trip's been canceled. Nice try, asshole. Terry slugged me in my right arm. I winced as he landed the blow, watching as ice pelted the back of his bristled neck. We're still going. I just want you to promise me something. Anything, Captain, my captain. I paused to rub the growing knot in my upper arm from Terry's iron slug. If anything that we heard about Judas Mill is true, you square it. We both quickened our pace as another barrage of ice assaulted us with stinging ice. Terry bellowed a final request. You shut me down, too. I don't want to end up like that. Climbing onto my 60-foot charter vessel, we both ducked into the dry confines of the lower deck crew quarters. I didn't know what to say in the moment. What can you say in a moment so morbidly dark? My best friend, my bartender, and my go-to guy when I needed something fixed just asked me to end his life. Forget all the other stuff said tonight. Forget his giving me an out to kill him with the ominous words, should the worst happen. Silver sleet slapped the dark-lit black waters of the bayou as the tapping of incessant snare drums. Ice pelted the tin roof of Sugar Bear's just 200 feet away, where a man waited on us. A desperate man who had done a colossal dumb thing. His actions had led to my best friend asking me to do the unthinkable should our rescue mission go tits up. After a minute that felt like an eternity, I turned to checking everything and answered his request by not answering. Well, as I switched on one of 3 solar generators on board, I might have alluded to my position on his request. Black magic is locked, stocked, and barreled. For starters, there's 6 cans of gas in the port hatch. I have 2 50-gallon drums of MREs in the starboard well. Should we get stuck out there, I have 2 shotguns with 6 boxes of buckshot, 10 boxes of number 8 fine shot, 20 fishing lines, 1,000 fishing lures, a live trap for game, cast net for crawfish and bait, plus a Colt 1911 pistol if we need backup for anything else. I pointed toward a small room on the starboard side of Black Magic's bow. One more thing to mention, Terry. I have my own private hospital of medical supplies too, in case there's any crazy stuff. Flares and emergency response stuff? I nodded. We had those too. Terry ushered me to turn and look toward Judas Mill before asking a final question. One more question. I rolled my eyes as I saw him give me a sheepish grin. What is it? We are going out there. Hell on literal earth, my friend. Terry shrugged as he pointed to the long shadows of the east. Did you think to add a makeshift church and an on-call priest for this here pristine yacht too? No. I thought it kind of hypocritical. We both roared with laughter before setting to finishing our boat checks. Wiping tears out of his eyes as he continued to chuckle, Terry added, Yeah, you might have been an altar boy growing up, Wyatt, but everyone would agree you never have been a saint. Black Magic cranked up on the first turn of the key. Both of us were thankful for that. Terry had just unhitched the last of 3 bow lines before I cranked up. We would have been in a pretty pickle had the boat stalled in the middle of the Tesh. Not that Terry or I would have minded one bit not going to Judas Mill. I would argue it would have been divine providence. Terry climbed up to the captain's loft with me as I steered Black Magic over to Sugar Bear's ice dock. He crossed his arms after sitting in the passenger seat grimacing. Do you think he's out there by my bar's ice dock waiting and freezing? Poetic in all this ice, don't you think? He's banged up pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if he passed out again before making it to the door. I narrowed my eyes for a side glance from my emerald and crimson glowing dials on the boat's console. I felt that spasm of fear return to my throat as I spied out toward the towering cypress shrouding the deadly ghost town in the swamp. It's not too late to call it, Terry. Swiveling his squeaky passenger chair to face the direction of Judas Mill, he sighed. It is, Wyatt. I'll admit that. 6 hours in the darkness of that accursed place. No one comes back from there. Like I said, though, we have to at least try, if there's a chance. And you were caught up in a ruckus out there. You'd want someone, anyone, to do what we are doing now. I couldn't argue with him. I saw no point arguing with a bona fide fool. Terry was all heart and no brains on some things. Women lost in the swamp was one of them. All I could figure in the instance, as I tagged along as the wayward sidekick, was a goddamned nagging conscience is contagious. My best friend is leading us out into a blaze of glory to rescue damsels in distress. But why do I feel in my very bones what we are really doing is heading out as lambs for the slaughter? I lowered my head as we pulled in cautiously to the rocking dock of Sugar Bear's. To my surprise, the lunatic had indeed made it out of the bar. He had hobbled at least 20 feet on his long stroll, longest of his life, no doubt, to black magic. The city slicker might be the biggest fool on the bayou. Terry moved to climb down the captain's loft ladder and help out our passenger on board. As he dropped down the first rung, he yelled back. But with those frostbitten feet and hypothermia, he managed to pull off a fucking miracle to just get back out here. He's a tough one, Wyatt. I changed gears for a minute as Terry crossed the lower deck port side. I finally had a definite answer to his earlier ominous request. I called over the captain's radio to Terry. I don't think I can put down my best friend. I heard a chirp on Terry's radio as he squelched right back. You won't be, Wyatt Lee. I didn't know what to say in response to that. He was right, of course. Like Terry, I had heard all the craziness too. Hell, I was sitting in Sugar Bear's most nights when the tall tales kicked up. At least back then I thought that way. Long before I had, well, I don't know what I encountered one fateful night back in July of 1989. Around that time, I discounted what I saw as too much habanero peach whiskey and way too many bad Stephen King novels. What had I seen back in 1989? What was the memory I was recollecting so long ago, sending my old ticker to thundering like rattling tin during a hurricane? More importantly, why did I suffer 3 months of god-awful nightmares after that not-so-great experience? Haunting dreams so bad, evil visions so unnerving, that they made me erratic enough to swear off booze. Well, on the latter, at least habanero peach whiskey. Sure, I'll tell you, but you will probably think I'm nuttier than a squirrel when I do. Here goes, friends. I warned you. It had been a steamy fog-filled night on Bayou Teche when I decided to try my luck catching bullfrogs out on remote Donna Canal. As I pulled out of Black Bayou Marina in the dead of a heated night, I made a fateful decision as the boat engine whined loudly in the silent darkness. I decided to take my 16-foot-long bateau out with a new 40-horsepower Mercury outboard to one of the most lily-choked places I knew. A place way too close to Judas Mill for most frogmen's liking. In July of 1989, my rattling, rusted boat had been my pride and joy. You see, I was a cocky, invincible 19-year-old punk, hell-bent on being the bayou's biggest collector of frogs. It was a title my local friends and I dubbed the Frog King. It was the only thing on my mind as my boat and I cut across Black Bayou's black water faster than a wax zipper. Back then, it had been a record season for frogmen. Demand from local restaurants for delicious buttery frog legs was through the roof. Everyone with a boat to a P-rope was racking back record numbers of bullfrogs. Over half the town of Morgan City and all the camps on Bayou Teche and Bayou Buff had been bragging about their frog numbers and the money in their pockets. Naturally, me being me, the most competitive snot-nosed kid you'd ever want to meet, itched to one-up all my fellow Cajuns. I'd show them, come hell or high water, I was going to have bragging rights for the most frogs ever caught on the Teche. Now you may have a few questions. Would I get an award for such a feat? Hell no. How much money would I actually get frogging? Again, I'd make more money selling sacks of crawfish from the spillway. But the nod from the old-timers down by the church on Sunday about being top frogman, the prized frog king of the Teche, priceless. The night had been the usual stifling, ball sweating hot. The mosquitoes, as I drove on to Donner Canal by way of Black Bayou, thick as blankets biting into my flesh horrendously. That was, of course, even with my body bathed in gallons of burning, chemical-smelling deep woods off. But despite these minor nuances, or because of them, I endeavored to push on through the clouds of blood-sucking bugs. I was going to breach the one place I knew no one was going to try and frog. Even back then, people feared the mill. Its legendary status as a bad spot, a place where folks disappeared, a shadowy, mysterious place to avoid, had for generations been cemented by town gossip. Many of the disappearances, especially after 200 years, long presumed dead, long forgotten. Of course, on that fateful July night in 1989, I waved a dismissive hand. I openly scoffed when someone spun a yarn about Judas Mill. I didn't believe in all the superstitious bunk being spewed. That's right, a 19-year-old me called it as I saw it. My friend, Mike Leger, 2 days before my hellish night of frogging, would tell of a recent disappearance by the damned ghost town. I would, of course, dismiss Judas Mill once more. In a smoke-filled dive bar called Skelly's, sitting on back-breaking stools, Mike would lean in whispering of the latest Judas Mill disappearance. His eyes would go wide as I'd stare into his Adonis face with an incredulous brow. Judas Mill. Got another one, Wyatt. This time Rusty Malonson and his girlfriend are missing. He's only 2 years older than us. If that's Melissa Tron, I can answer that one. I crossed my arms and chagrined. CJ probably buried both of them out there in the marsh. Mike narrowed his eyes and shook his head, and both of us looked back toward two girls our age playing pool, giggling. But her daddy liked Rusty. That dog don't hunt, Wyatt Lee. CJ wouldn't hurt his little girl or Rusty. Tired of the Judas Mill latest conspiracy, I yawned and leaned back in my creaking chair. That one I can't explain just yet, but most of the rest, Mike, are 100% clever lies. I can surefire bet a majority of these missing people are designed to scare us off the oil men's trapping and hunting leases, especially when someone gets the balls to go near their out of season. Mike rubbed his puzzled temple. He pushed back some of his raven black curly hair, concerned, then still perplexed at my obtuse explanation, he'd asked, "Do you think so, Wyatt? That might explain some of the stories. What about all those missing person reports down at the post office? By the way, why are there so many police detectives hanging out asking everyone questions by the boat launch? Especially if it is, like you said, just made up stories." "I don't know. Some of them might be husbands and wives faking their deaths or running off." Mike agreed. That explanation made sense as I added, "Some of the landowners out near Judas Mill might run weed farms too. If someone goes snooping, you know how that plays out. Same gang might be spreading stories to scare people off." "That sure is a lot of people, Wyatt." Mike ordered us a round of Dixie beers. My mouth was practically salivating as he asked another question. This one, as we toasted each other with our beer cans, stumped me. "What you are saying could explain a lot of the recent missing hunters and such. But how do you explain the families and what all back in the 1800s going missing?" I put my hands up and shrugged. "That one, Mike, I haven't a clue. Yeah, back then Judas Mill was a great spooky story to scare a cousin or friend. A great yarn to terrify friends and family on cold, dark nights. Especially if it was a full moon with everyone huddled next to the red blaze of a bonfire. And nothing more."
Thank you for listening.